Welcome back. We are here in the final series between hendralisk and Nezi. So we are good to go. We're going to jump into this game right off the bat, guys. This is on GSL Antigua Shipyard, another ZVZ in the series. Now hendralisk is up 1-0 in the series because he is from the winner's bracket, meaning that he is automatically up one game in this best-of-5 series. So here we go, guys. ZVZ, hendralisk, best Zerg, right? I guess best player in this in this situation, and
Yep.
and then we have. So I guess my train of thought just sort of trained off. But we have in the top right-hand corner we have hendralisk, and we have the bottom right-left corner, or bottom left-hand corner of Antigua Shipyard is Nezi.
Alright, we have here on Antigua Shipyard, it is indeed a 4v4 format. Finally, guys, we are in the grand finals of today's event. I hope you guys have enjoyed it all throughout. I hope you guys also tuned into other streams as well, because there has been a lot of actions happening all day long, not only in the Great Lakes, also in the north, the south, the northeast, the northwest, or there's so many regions here doing qualifiers, and hopefully you guys got to tune in on some of those, and hope you guys have enjoyed your stay as well. Now this is again gonna be a ZVZ, and hendralisk is actually heavily favored to win this series. He is up ahead right now 1-0 just because he is in the losers bracket. It is gonna be a best of 5 though, so he still needs to win 2 more games to advance or to qualify as a first place finisher for the Great Lakes division. Now Nezi though needs to win 3 more games so that he can be the first place finisher for this region. So it's gonna be a tough hill going up for Nezi, but then it is still possible, especially it is indeed a ZVZ matchup, and mirror matchups always are pretty tricky.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of ZVZs today already, so we're going to be able to sort of, I guess, predict this a little more accurately. It looks like it's going to be 15 hatch for both players. hendralisk is just setting that down a little quicker than that, but I mean seconds. I mean, it's a game of seconds, but not a game of milliseconds. So right now, both players, this is going to be a deviate. I mean, we're probably not going to see some deviation for a while, but like hendralisk is saying, his ZVZ is good. He practices versus Scarlet, who is one of the best. So we're gonna have to see if Nezi's up to the task.
I want to share you guys. I just want to share to you guys that the C region or the C and Oceania region has the best Zergs actually. Like Zergs are actually owning up in that region. And you'd think that the Terran and Protoss players would own it up over there, but then again, it's all Zerg over there, especially in Taiwan, like with the likes of Sen and such. He's owning up over there as a Zerg. I think there's only like, if you ever watch a Taiwan esports league, I think there's only 1 or 2 Protoss in the whole tournament. Which is actually pretty funny. That's why they got White Rat there for 1 or 2 seasons, I believe.
That is actually quite interesting how heavily favored Zerg is in these situations. That's quite interesting. Now, Zerg is a pretty strong race, as you know, the finals, top 3 were, of course, Zerg players, so that's quite interesting. Now, we have the Queens coming out for both players, you know, similar builds. If you check up the, look in the top right, we do have, or other top left in the unit counting station, we do have pretty similar stuff coming from both players right now. So, we're just going to wait for that main deviation to tell us, you know, who is going to be doing what.
Most likely both players are going to be doing some baning play. That's what I'm thinking, but there's always a chance that one player will go directly to roaches, because that player most likely will end up going to infestors directly, so it's going to be a roach infestor play. But then again, someone could always go for mutas. There's really a lot of options right now for both players to go to a specific path. Now both players are actually just researching metabolic boost, so most likely banelings are on the way and not roach warren.
Yep, both players do have that speed on the way. It's going to be pretty effective. And ZPC, you do need that speed in there, so Baneling Nest for hendralisk can be thrown on down in his natural expansion. Baneling Nest for Nezi be thrown on as well, so good call from my co-caster right here. Also going to be throwing down a Spine Crawler is Nezi, so we're going to have to see, I mean, who has the better control in terms of Baneling. Now, hendralisk does set himself, he practices with Scarlet. Scarlet is, you know, one of the best Zerg players out there right now. She is a... she recently won WCS Canada and is going to be moving on to the WCS NA qualifier. So this is going to be a quite a interesting quite an interesting matchup, or quite an interesting face-off between this player hendralisk, who we've seen, or out of his own mouth, he said that his ZVZ is his best matchup, whereas Nezi, who sort of, chewed and clawed his way through the entire tournament.
Yeah, that is very true. And look at that. This is the deviation where it shows up right now. We do see that there is more Zerglings right now on the side of Hendralis. It does have speed already finished as well. And also more Banelings are being made here on Hendralis' side. He is in the lead by a very, very few food supply. But then again, how much damage is he going to be able to do with his harassment? There is already a Spine Crawler here as well. And Nezi was already prepared for this harassment.
Oh, he's not looking!
There was so many Zerglings destroyed by just 2 Banelings. Very, very good in chase right there. Oh, the same thing happened to the other side.
Wow, that was pretty interesting. I mean, Hendrils looked away for a second and he lost almost all of the links that were with his army. Right now he's producing 10 drones, so it looks like he's just going to be staying at home, macroing up. And Hendrils needs to be careful, because if he ends up losing any more of those drones, he'll be in a bad spot. But that's actually, you could just go ahead and run right up into the main base. He's actually going to go ahead and try and snipe that queen. He's not going to have enough links to pull that off, unfortunately. He's actually just probably going to head home with those Banelings and treat them as defensive Banelings for the rest of the game.
Yep, and look at that. We are already seeing a layer tick right here from Hendralis, so he is gonna try to go for I guess an infestor, most likely. That's the scenario, unless of course he wants to go for meta play. We do have 4 gases here though, so there is a good chance that actually either tech build is actually pretty viable right now. But then again, he is indeed making a roach warren as well, so it should be infestor and roaches and not infestor meta.
Yeah, Infestor Roach is a very interesting style of play. Infestors obviously with their fungal growths are quite good against lower tier units, and I mean the fungal growths are just such a powerful thing to keep those units in place. I mean fungal growthing Lings pretty much kills them, but getting fungal growths off on Roaches is also very, very important in terms of positioning. So we do have the third base now coming out for both players. Gas is now being added on for Nezi. Third base now being about halfway done for Hendralisk, and his Banelings are just going to hang out at home and be defensive.
It's amazing how, even though this is a ZVZ, even though both players open up with pretty much the same thing with Banelings and Zerglings, we do see Hendralis actually is a little bit in the lead here. He has more drones actually. Even though he is the one who teched up first, he still has more drones than his opponent. He is already done with his Roach Warren. And look at Nezi right now. He's only just halfway done with his layer tech, and also the expansion. He is also behind just a little bit as well though. But we should see a push out right here from the Roaches of Hendralisk very, very shortly. 87 against 73 right now in favor of Hendralisk.
So we do see Banelings coming out here and there. Hendralisk just trying to pick off some Banelings. He does have quite a few Banelings being morphed down here. He's going to try and go to the third base, and actually morphing those Banelings right out in front. That's actually really interesting. And now he has a couple of Roaches here to put some pressure on the third base too. So this is going to be interesting, because Banelings, as you know, against Roaches, I mean, that's Roaches are good at tanking quite a bit of damage. We saw 8 Banelings go into 3 Roaches. So it looks like the Banelings of Nezi are just trying to go around and try and, there we go, get one of Hendralisk. And Hendralisk is actually going to have to back up.
Yeah, Hendralisk did lose a good amount of Zerglings here. His Zerglings really like to hug those Banelings of Nezi, which paid up pretty badly for him. But yeah, good defense right there by Nezi, and now both players actually can easily just calmly mine on their own third bases. But then again, here we go. Hendralisk actually is willing to sacrifice a couple more Roaches. I guess he wants to use those Roaches to just Baneling bait and force those Banelings to explode on themselves, just because they can take like 4 or 5 Banelings on themselves. So actually that's a smart play from him as well.
Looks like Hendralisk smartly using those Overlords to creep up his main base and just outside. That's interesting. We don't see a lot of players do that, and I think that more players should do that. Instead of just sending their Overlords off to a corner, they should be spreading them out and spreading creep with them. I mean, there's no reason that they shouldn't be doing that at all. So I think that's actually a really interesting style of play that Hendralisk is choosing to do. We just see Infestation Pit coming out of him now. We are seeing actually a Hydralisk then come out for Nezi right now.
Interesting, which is actually pretty much a good move as well, because Hydralisks are pretty good against Roaches. They're not as good against Infestors, especially if those Infestors land their fungal goods perfectly. But as you said, that these Overlords are actually spreading creep all over. But again, it is actually a mixed opinions on this creep spread, because it's pretty much whenever you do spread your creep, it's pretty much also giving your opponent the advantage. It's pretty much giving your opponent a shortcut to get to your base if ever you're not prepared and your opponent's ready for a counterattack. So yeah, it's a mix of opinions right there. But I think Hendralisk is already pretty much confident with his skill that he can almost pretty much defend almost every attack that Nezi has in store for him.
So he's gonna go ahead and see those Hydras that were down over there, and living up to his name, hendralisk, is going to probably have to react in a fair. Now, I'm not sure about this choice to go Roach Hydra. I mean, we'll have to see how it fares out, especially now that these infestors are out on the field. We're going to have to see how Angelus chooses to react to this. I mean, Roach Hydra is a style that's definitely dying out, so we're going to have to see how Nezi is going to choose to go about dealing with it. Now, we are seeing a Hydralisk Den of his own, or Hendralisk's own, being thrown down, and 10 more Roaches being added to the fray.
Yeah, that's actually, I guess, a good reaction to the Roach Hydra composition, also making your whole Hydra, but then again, you do add those infestors in the mix, which is definitely going to be a huge plus on your side, because those infestors are going to do extra damage on those light units that we call Hydralisk. Now, I thought that Nezi was putting in this overseer inside the main base of Hendralisk to poop out some contamination, because contamination is actually pretty good in a ZVZ matchup. That means that those larvae is going to be 30 seconds later, and the hatchery itself is going to produce those larvae a little bit later as well, a little bit more delayed. So it could have been in favor of him. It could have helped him out just a little bit. But now Nez is actually in a huge lead right here in terms of food supply. And here we go. Engagement is bound to happen here very shortly.
Looks like Hendralis is going to be chasing Nezi down the map. Now, they're going to back up, though, as the infestors with their fungal growths could get good shots off. And here we go. The fungal growths are going to be going down. Big fungal growths on all of those Hydras, burrowing actually behind. Hydras of Hendralis' own are going to come in, but the fungals just being added to the fray are going to make the difference, because the concave for Nezi is good, but the fungals could be the key difference. Is only Hydras are left, and Hydras are weak when they engage Roaches directly. I mean, their DPS is good with nothing but buffer. However, it looks like the concave for Nezi just got around and became a little bit better. I mean, he's sort of moving around backwards now, and a lot of the Hydras are coming out for Hendralisk right now, going to be taking down this force of Nezi.
Yep, that is one of the huge gambles of making Hydralisk, is that whenever you attack, there's no choice but to commit to that attack. And if your attack fails, you have no choice but to sacrifice those Hydralisks, as they cannot really run away fast enough off of creep. And that's pretty much what happened in that scenario. And here we go, the Roaches are continuously attacking right now for Nezi, but again, it's not really a good scenario right here, because there are Hydralisks in the mix of Hendralisk's army, and now they are running away as fast as possible. Hendralisk actually is getting the base in the middle of the map. I'm not sure about this, because the Roaches are still pretty fast, and Zerglings can easily be made. But then here we go, Infested Terran are being pooped on the low ground. Wow, Infested place, interesting place to poop them out. And again, here we go. How much damage are they going to be able to do? Yes, indeed, look at that. So much damage being dealt right here. And Hendralisk is pushing in slowly but surely. The mixture of Hydra, Roach, and Infestor is working out really, really well for Hendralisk right now.
And just needs to be careful, just back up a little bit so he doesn't lose too much of his Roaches, as he's sort of all over the place on the map right now. This base in the middle is very exposed for Nezi. Hendralisk is actually going to go ahead and take a base of his own in there, but the addition of the Infestors, along with the plus to attack, is so strong, because Hendralisk can just get those good concaves that he needs to get. So it looks like this base is going to have to be abandoned for Nezi right now, and the supply is really telling the story.
Yeah, it looks like we might see a GG here very shortly, and like if Nezi doesn't really want to lose that main base or that middle base, we should see a GG very shortly here until he can defend it. But then here we go, we're going to see a counterattack right here by Nezi with a good amount of Roaches. He's going to try to snap off this hatchery. Is he going to be able to do it? Looks like he is not. Look at halfway down the life. Looks like he is. Oh no, he's not firing, but then he is just going to run away towards the third base of Hendralisk right now. Is he going to be able to do any damage? No, he's just going to try his best to just lurk around and see what tech is happening. He's just starting to see everything he can right now with these 4 or 5 Roaches right here, as they are bound to die very shortly. But then again, what? Hendralisk is not following them at all. He did lose a queen there, so that could affect the production rate of Hendralisk there just a little bit.
He did not lose that base in the middle, though, so he's in he's in a good spot right now. And really another Roach has actually forced mining to stop at this middle base right now. So Hendralisk is, he's in a decent spot. He's maxed out to the 150 supply of Nez. He's actually spitting Overlords, or rather, not Overlords, but Infested Terrans onto the low ground to occupy these Hydras time. And he's actually going to go move on down here and actually lose a handful of units. So we need to be too careful. We can't just be throwing away units like this. However, we have the Greater Spire, or rather, the Spire and the Hive go down, so we will probably be seeing Broodlord mixture be out on the map soon, and as his Roach Force pushes down, and probably going to eliminate this little pocket of units for Nezi.
Yeah, it's actually going to be interesting if whoever's going to be in Hydra versus Broodlords, but again, we are not going to reach that point, as Nezi already GG's on this game. GG, well played from him. It's actually a really good game right there by Hendricks. Both players actually did pretty well, but then again, Hendricks right there for some reason has a small factor that affects the game that's kind of key, like maybe certain timings that really affects the factor of the outcome of the game, which is pretty crucial, and that pretty much gave Hendricks the lead right now. He is still 2-0 over Nezi. Nezi still has one shot in getting into the national finals. So we will see if he's going to be able to win it in this one. He needs to win 3 in a row. Otherwise, he is going to be placing in second place and most likely going to be placing in a lower part of the bracket. It is going to be a top 16. Maybe he's going to be placed around, 8 to 16 place or 9 to 16 place in the bracket.
So how do you feel about ZVZ as a whole on that map? I know we've seen a couple ZVZs so far in Antigua. How do you feel about that matchup on that map?
It was actually ZVZ actually on that map is pretty much okay. It's really hard. Like sometimes mirror matches, it doesn't really or the map doesn't really factor because pretty much both of you guys are doing the same thing. Both of you guys have the same advantages. So in mirror matchups, I don't think it's pretty much a factor like map wise. It really depends on how you play out in the map. How much experience you have in the map. So that's pretty much, I think, which is a more valuable factor in that matchup.
That's a very good point. So now we're just getting the game set up. The next game is going to be on GSL's Daybreak. It's going to be a very interesting map to see another ZVZ on this two-player map. Or rather, yeah, two-player map. So how do you feel about ZVZs on maps that are kind of smaller, like two-player maps?
Well, like we saw in Cloud Kingdom, there is a lot of potential for one base openings. Like we did see, like a 10 pull, I believe, a 9 pull to Banelings, or a 10 extractor to spawn pull to Banelings, or something like that. Like there's a lot more potential for a lot more early game, and we could see it here. But then again, Daybreak is a pretty much well-balanced map, well-distanced map. It's not really that close to each other, so it's gonna be pretty much a toss-up again. If whoever's gonna go for like the first expansion, if ever someone goes for early pressure, it's most likely he's gonna be able to do a good job of damage, but it's always a gamble. Like we saw for Nubergini, it didn't pay out for him whenever he went for all-in Juana, even though the distance was quite small.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So just jumping into this next game here in the series, guys, it's going to be played on GSL Daybreak between hendralisk, our Zerg player, and Exion Nezis, our second Zerg player. So spawning up here in the top right corner, we have Nezi, our orange Zerg player, and down here in the blue, we have hendralisk, our blue Zerg player.
Awesome, awesome. Here we go. Daybreak, we are back here, guys. And this is pretty much most likely the last time we are going to see this map being used today. This might be the last game overall for this whole qualifier area for the Great Next region. So it's all up to Nezi to extend it to 2 more games if he can. But then again, Hendricks might be in a rush and might just want to win this whole tournament. He already knew, I guess. He already knew from the start, like, oh, whatever. It's not like I'm going to lose or anything. Like, what? So, yeah, he's pretty much confident in his skill. And it's pretty much showing, like, he actually could be confident because he is pretty skillful.
Yeah, I mean, as a Zerg player, Hendralis has definitely shown that he is, one of the best, being one of the only guys, if not the only, in the CSL recently to actually knock out Ostoji, another fantastic Zerg player. So definitely ZVZ he's sort of, I guess we could say Hendralis is a ZVZ sniper. It's one of his specialities, and he's definitely shown so far because he's a quite formidable opponent, and he's sort of, even when he's I guess it sort of goes to show that even when he's sort of playing from a little bit behind, like maybe when his surge just slightly later, or maybe when his tech switch is slightly slower, he knows that he has that game sense of how can I bring this situation, from this situation, how can I put myself in a lead, and he's very good at doing that as he's shown so far. So I'm going to see a 15 hatch from him, as we're going to see a 15 hatch from Nezi.
I actually just realized that there's a lot of amazing Zerg players in Canada as well. We have Hendralisk, we have Scarlet, then you have Ostoji is a Zerg, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, Ostoji is a Zerg. Then also we have Hendralis, and then we have Jay Echo as well. He's a pretty good Zerg, up and coming player from I7. And yeah, Zergs are pretty much representing up there as well. So I don't know what's up with Zerg lately. They're just doing pretty well, I guess. It really. And there's a patch coming up, actually. It's going to happen on Tuesday. Have you read the patch notes yet?
I have not, actually. Can we just go through those patch notes and you can tell me what I've been missing?
Actually, I have no idea yet as well. I have not read anything at all. I wanted to read it, but then again, I was focusing on what we are going to be casting for today. So I'm going to have to read that later on. But it's actually making a huge wave, right? Or it's actually making a lot of getting a lot of attention. So there must be some big changes there, because the past few patches have not gotten as much attention as this one. So I think things should be changing.
Yeah, I mean,
Interesting.
the last patch that we had in regards to the Queen range is quite a significant patch. It actually
That yeah.
shifted the metagame quite a bit. But this patch also seems to have some interesting stuff, if not so much balance and so much towards the UI of StarCraft itself. When you log in, that's what I understand. That it's actually a patch to make future patching a little bit easier in terms of UI and
Oh
updating.
yeah.
So we'll have to see. I haven't read over it too extensively, although I have taken a glance at it. So we're gonna have to see what is going to be happening.
Oh yeah, I heard some of the custom map makers are getting pretty upset because like one of the key features that they were like featuring is how some people have their colors for their units a little bit sharper, like how ESV is streaming their games, like some of the teams have sharper colors. Now they're actually planning on banning that, I guess. So that's why pretty much people are going up and raging all over. And like how you see some background for the lobbies customized, like you see sometimes people have Boxer's image in the background of the lobby of StarCraft. So that's pretty much not going to be able to be applicable when this patch hits.
Oh, that's
That's what
kind of
they're saying.
annoying, but I mean, I guess I'm
Yeah,
sure Blizzard has their reasons. But it's kind of a bummer to see that stuff go. I mean, I know ESC likes to have
it really
that
is.
that color mod, but I guess
Yeah,
at the end of the day, I mean, as long as you can sort of play the game, I guess too much isn't going to be lost.
I guess. But then again, there's actually a hope as well. Maybe they are going to make those changes applicable in Hardened Swarm. You never know. Maybe they're going to make it a default option, like change your background or change the color of your race or something like that, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean,
Or
having some color change options would be quite nice. And at the same time, we are seeing a second queen come up for Hendralisk. Baneling Nest go up for both players. Standard stuff, pretty much identical to last game.
Shaper.
The layer is also going down for Hendralisk a little bit earlier than the layer that we see for, or rather the layer for Nezi is a little earlier than the layer that we see for Hendralisk. And gas is being added by both players.
Yeah, we do see a much earlier Evo Chamber right here for Nezi or for Hendralis. I'm not sure why. Maybe he just wants to block off any ling run by or whatsoever. But yeah, that's actually pretty interesting to see. But then again, then again, it's not really that expensive to build an Evo Chamber. He is going for +1 really, really fast. Maybe that's why he is indeed getting these gas chambers right here. Maybe he's gonna go for Baning Nest very early. Not even Baning Nest, because the other side is already set up. He already has Baning Nest, he already has 4 gases, and he already has Banings as well. And I'm not sure what Hendra is waiting for. He really knows his timing. Let's look at the harvester count real quick. We have 47 harvesters to 40 in favor of Hendralisk. So Hendralisk is doing quite well again in the income tab. For some reason, he always have that small edge that the top pro players have among the normal like semi-pro players like Hendril or like Nezi right here, who is an up and coming. He has a lot of potential actually, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing more of him in the future.
I think what's really cool to note is the larva inject timing.
Yeah.
I've been looking at Hydralisk versus Nezi's larva inject timings, and almost every single time a queen has got a larva inject off, it's been instantaneous for Hydralisk, whereas for Nezi there's been a little gap. There's been quite significant gaps sometimes. Whereas with Hydralisk, every time a larva inject goes off, bam, he's on top of it to get it off right then. So it's actually interesting to study these sort of smaller notes about players and how something like a larva inject can really make the big difference in the end. We also, at the same time, we're also seeing the Infestation Pit come down for Hydralisk and the Spire come down for Nezi.
Infestation Pit on the way for Nezi. So this is actually a pretty weird composition. It's going to be a little bit softer compared to game number 1 or game number 2, I guess, whatever you want to call it, because we are already in. This is only the last game, I guess, for Hendralis. If he wins this, he's going to be moving on. But yeah, it's going to be a softer composition. He doesn't have the roaches that he needs to be the meat shields for those infestors. So we might see some burrow play action right here from Hendralis very, very shortly. There are no observers on the field, so he can do a lot of damage when infested Terran pooping out all over the base of Nezi.
So we are seeing 8 mutas on the field, or they're about to pop right now. This is actually going to be interesting. I believe Hydralisk does actually know about the Spire. Actually, does not, but hey, he does have an Overseer on a pattern that will allow him to see that Spire if he does get inside that base. And he's actually going to see those mutas. So he is going to know what's up once he arrives inside that base. He's going to be seeing that Spire.
And third base being plopped down right here by Nezi. Is going to be able to defend this though. He is overwhelmed by all those Zerglings of Hydralis, and he's going to be forced to cancel that. Very, very good job right there by Hydralis. It is now 87 against 79. Oh, look at this. It's going to be a 4v3 scenario. Oh, almost. Oh, very good job right there by hendralisk, killing off 4 Banelings for the 2 Banelings that he has. Very good job right there.
And then maybe if you're seeing Mutas clean up a lot of the queens that are in the in that base, and Spore Colors are going to pop, going off with Transfuses. So there are a lot of queens out in the field right now with the Spore Colors. He's going to be having a tough time trying to find areas where he's going to be able to snipe stuff now. He's actually going to go for the Infestation Pit, and needs to be careful because he's going to lose almost all of his mutas doing that. That's not a cost-efficient trade right there.
Risky. Very risky play right there by Nezi. But then again, he still has most of his mutas, so he should be a-okay. He should be able to take out all of his queens whenever an engagement happens again. You should engage it right now while the queen is low on transfusion. But again, there are infestors on the field as well, which has a lot of energy for any fungal growth. So he should be careful with those mutas, and he is indeed sending them away. 105 against 81 right now in favor of hendralisk still.
Now the infestors are out in the field, and fungal growths are going to be very good against these mutalisks. So he needs to be careful. If fungal gets off on all of them, and those mutas are as good as dead because fungal growth is very, very strong against a mutalisk right now. He's going to end up shooting all of those mutas down. And Banelings now being more so Infester, Ling, Bling is going to be a very strong source. Now, at the same time, a lot of Lings going off to the third base of Nezi, or rather hendralisk right now. hendralisk is going to have to try his best. He's actually going to go ahead and get all of those Lings. Good surround on all those Lings. Nezi is falling behind right now, and there's the GG.
There's the GG. Wow. Good game right there by hendralisk. Really, really being solid with his macro and his defense. Really awesome stuff. He knows what those queens can handle. And they did handle this mutas quite well, and props to hendralisk for performing awesome stuff. Props to Nezi as well for getting in second place for this qualifier in the Great Lakes. Congratulations to both players for qualifying for the national qualifier, or for the national finals, which is going to be happening in August. It's going to be happening very soon, guys, and one of these players could be $1,000 richer very, very soon.
So guys, make sure to check out our website, spgl.tv. Check them out on Twitter, Semi-Pro Gaming. I'm at Pixie Starcraft. You can find my co-caster here at WawaSC. Remember, the top 2 players from each race compete on the 18th of August for $1,000. So that means that we're going to see Nezi again. We're going to see hendralisk again, competing for $1,000. Guys, if you like to stream sub for HD for $5, we're going to be casting a lot for Semi-Pro Gaming, and it's $5. I mean, it's basically nothing. Sponsors this weekend are going to be giving away prizes to the people who do indeed sign up. So if you like some of this Antec stuff, if you like Kingston HyperX, memory cards, etc., check those out, guys. Sign up. And the 32-man regional open starts on August 1st, guys. So we're going to have another Semi-Pro Gaming tournament. It's open to anyone. 32 people can sign up. It's on August 1st. And check it out on Zeke. And guys, of course...
It's very soon.
Yeah, very soon.
Wow.
So check out our TL thread and upvote us on Reddit. Comment on our thread. Check out Antec's products, guys. They're fantastic stuff. Buy some Kingston stuff as well. And with that, me and my friend Wawa are going to be signing off.
Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a good day.